In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with all of you exactly how I made $16,000 in just 2 trading days. As always, I will be sharing with you all the entries of those trades and the exits of those trades, and most importantly, the reason why I took those trades to begin with. All right, so let's dive right into charts right off the bat. The very first trade that I took was on UNH. All right, now first and foremost, healthcare company UNH got demolished from the top of 630 all the way down to the bottom of 234. There's a massive bullish opportunity on there. I saw that last week. I've been monitoring the stock for quite some time now. And the reason why I was so interested in it is because it started to fill the gap on the left right here at 336 on Tuesday. Okay. I did put in a video on my Instagram about how I made money on Tuesday the 9th, but for this specific video we will talk about what happened on the 11th. All right, and the 11th was right over here, right on this date. Okay, so I ended up taking the trade on this thing. I bought 24 contracts of UNH $355 calls, the contract that expired on Friday the 12th, for a total of 3,868 at exactly 8:15 on the 11th of September, Thursday. All right, and then I ended up adding to my position with different calls, the 360 calls, 20 of them, $3,000, about 9 minutes later. And then I sold the old calls, these ones. I sold them for 7,776 at 9:35, just to buy or just to add on the new calls, the 360 calls right here, right? So I sold the old calls just to add more on the new calls, the 360. I added 20 contracts for an additional 5,389 at 9:41. And then lastly, to pretty much close out this entire trade, I sold all of these new calls, like the 40 calls that I had of the 360. I sold them all for $12,078 at 10:10. All right, now that we've seen the transactions, let's look at it like in the charts itself. Okay, so this is what happened between Wednesday and Thursday. First and foremost, we started to fill that gap right here. Okay, the next day on Wednesday, we consolidated and we pretty much didn't go anywhere. All right, but the one thing that I was waiting for was the break of this level right here at 351. And then the reason why I actually took a trade at exactly 9:15 a.m., 45 minutes after the market opened on Thursday, was because of the bullish triangle that y'all see on the chart. Like, it was there. I thought it would break in the morning, but it started to play games. But I was watching it and then it formed this thing right there, the bullish triangle. So my initial entry with the 355 calls was right here, and then I added on the 360 right here, and then I started selling the old calls, the 355, after the initial spike of 3 right here at 9:34ish, right after we hit 355. And then when I realized that this entire move wasn't over, those calls that I sold, the old calls, I kind of replaced them with the new calls, the 360, right over here. I'm gonna mark it in red, right at 9:40. After I knew that we were going to take off again and aim for like 359. And then I sold all of my 360 calls right at 10:10, which is right after the rejection of 359 in this candle, right over here, right? So that was pretty much the summary of this trade. The total profit on UNH for that specific day was 7,600. All right, now for the next trade. The next trade, I took it in between Thursday and Friday. I had a few options. Let's go into the Discord. That way y'all can see what really happened right here. So first and foremost, Tesla was an opportunity. Tesla broke out at 10. right? So while I was monitoring my position on UNH, Tesla was going, and I was waiting for this thing for a while. It broke out. Price target was given for everybody else, $400. All right, and then later on that day, did I take Tesla? No. Unfortunately, I didn't. I was just very, very picky about where I wanted the price to be at the end of the day. Like if Tesla just closed at 360, I wouldn't have thought twice about buying Tesla. I would have just bought it, right? Because that's where I wanted the price to be at that specific time. But because it closed so high, I looked at the contrast and I just felt like um, the move, I felt like Tesla might have taken 2 or 3 days to get to 400. I knew it was gonna go to 400. I just didn't know it was gonna get there that fast. All right. But I saw Apple, and I saw how this thing was beaten down for quite some time, and that it was due for a massive push to the upside. Okay, so let's look at ThinkorSwim, and then let's move over to Apple. The next trade was on Apple. I chose Apple instead of buying Tesla. Other people bought Tesla anyways. Other people bought Apple and Tesla. All right. Again, like I told y'all, everybody has the right to buy whatever they feel like buying. In my Discord community, it's just the opportunities are given, and as long as they're given in the watch list, it's fair game for everybody. Okay. So I saw Apple and I liked it. And compared to the NASDAQ, I felt like Apple had some room to run. So I ended up buying calls on Apple right at the last minutes right here. Let me change this thing to the 5-minute chart. Then we're gonna look at the whole day. First, we have the drop. This is Wednesday. Massive drop on the day of their launch of their new phones. Then the next day we start to recover. And then intraday, we can see that we started out going strong. We have a break and retest of the morning high right at 229.30. And I also like how strongly we close right here on the day. So let's go to Robinhood. And then this is the Apple transaction. In the very last minute on Thursday, 9/11, I bought 100 contracts of the $237.5 strike. The contracts that expired next week on the 19th for a total of 6,800. And then I ended up selling half of them, 50 contracts, at exactly 9:29 a.m., 90 minutes after the market opened, for 7,750. And then I sold the other half of my position for 7,400, literally 2 minutes after that sell. All right, now let's go back to Apple. We have the break and hold, which I liked. Another reason why I bought it and I was able to hold through this mess on Friday. This is a mess, okay? But I was able to hold through it. Was because of the daily time frame. If we look at the daily time frame and we just zoom into this section, right? We have the dump. But the combination of these two candles between Wednesday and Thursday, this right here, this is called a bullish harami. Okay? A bullish harami that happened right at support, long-term support from way back here at exactly 226, right? And then also another thing that I was considering was the gap fill at the top in between 232 and 234.33. All right, so that was pretty much my price targets. That's why I was able to hold Apple calls all the way through. And that's why, let me just draw a line of resistance from right here. All right, also there was this line of resistance that I was watching for from this day right there. So that was my price target. I was pretty much, all I had to do was wait and wait and wait for the price to actually hit the line before I start selling at 929 and again at 931 right here. So the total profit on my Apple trade was exactly $8,400. All right, now let me show y'all how everybody else did in the Discord. So right here we have somebody on Thursday making around like $7,000 or $6,000 or close to 6,000. All right, and then this is from Friday. Somebody had, again, like I told y'all before, if it's in the watch list, It's fair game for everybody. All right, so everybody bought whatever felt that they would make the most money on. I didn't buy Tesla, but a lot of people did. So somebody ended up making $7,000 on Tesla from that massive push. Another person made 500 bucks from UNH. I ended up making, again, 8,400 from Apple. I tried to sell at a good price. That's why I ended up making a lot less than what y'all see right here. But that was a screenshot that I was able to grab. Somebody else took Apple with me, and they made about 320 bucks. Another person ended up making a lot of money on both Tesla and UNH. Y'all can add these up. This is around 4,000 bucks on both stocks altogether. So yeah, that's pretty much sums up how I did and how everybody else did. And that is the end of the video. Again, do not forget to annihilate the like button as always. All right. If I don't make videos on YouTube, again, I'm going to tell y'all, if I don't make videos on YouTube, I'm on Instagram. I am. All right. So definitely like and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on future uploads. Again, follow me on Instagram and on X at Paul and Guben at Patternology Lab. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community and you would like to trade with me, you can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. Once again, gentlemen, this is Patternology Lab, where we trade patterns and patterns only. And I will see all of you in the next video.